Welcome. We are just so incredibly excited you are joining us today for this deep dive.
Oh, absolutely. It is going to be such a fun one today.
It really is.
Right.
Because, well, I want you to think about your absolute best friend for a second. Just picture them. Have you ever noticed that really weird thing that happens where suddenly you are using their exact hyper-specific slang?
Oh, yeah. Like you just absorb their personality.
Exactly. Or, maybe you catch yourself ordering their bizarre coffee order. Like, suddenly you are at the cafe asking for an iced oat milk matcha with 2 pumps of vanilla, and you realize, wait a second, I firmly hated matcha just a month ago.
Right. It is hilarious because it is just so true. You spend enough time together and suddenly, you are basically speaking your own completely made up language.
We really do. My best friend and I, we suddenly have the exact same incredibly strong opinions about this random cooking show, and we never even cared about it before. We just, I don't know, slowly merged into the same person.
It happens to all of us. It is one of the most fascinating aspects of human behavior, honestly. And I guarantee it is going to make you look at your daily life so differently after today.
Oh, I totally agree. It is funny, but honestly, it is also a little bit spooky when you finally realize it is happening to you.
It is very spooky. And that everyday friendship phenomenon you were describing, where you essentially synchronize your personalities, well, that is exactly what our source material today is all about.
Yes, it is. Today, we are exploring an article called The Social Mirror.
The Social Mirror. It is such a great title.
It really is. And the core mission of our deep dive today is to answer this one big question. How exactly do your friends influence your character and your habits?
Right. Because when we are young, we really hold on to this romantic belief that we are totally independent,
Oh, completely. We think, our decisions, our tastes, our ambitions, they are all completely our own. We think we are steering the ship all by ourselves, totally unaffected by the other passengers.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We tell ourselves, I am a unique individual making my own logical choices. But the fascinating reality, and this is really the core hook of the article, is that human beings are fundamentally like chameleons.
Chameleons. I love that comparison.
All right. If you want to predict your future health or your mindset, your financial stability, and just your overall trajectory in life, you do not need a magical crystal ball.
No crystal ball required.
Exactly. You just need to look at the 5 people closest to you.
It is a stunning realization, honestly. Right. So since we have established that we act like these social chameleons, I feel like we need to move past the what and really explore the why.
Yeah, let's get into the mechanics of it.
Yeah.
Why do we subconsciously copy the people around us? What is the actual mechanism driving this?
Right. Let's unpack this because, I really need to know why I am suddenly spending $6 a day on matcha.
Well, the article dives into this psychological and biological phenomenon. It is called social contagion.
Social contagion? That sounds almost like a medical term.
It does, right. But it basically comes down to how our brains are physically wired. We have these things in our brains called mirror neurons.
Okay, I have definitely heard of mirror neurons, but how do they actually operate in this specific context? Are they just like little copycats in the brain?
Essentially, yes. When you watch a friend reach for a glass of water, the exact same neurons fire in your brain as if you were reaching for that glass yourself.
Wait, really? Just from watching them?
Just from watching. Now, apply that to complex habits. If you watch your friend complain about their job or you watch them pack their gym bag, your brain is mentally rehearsing that exact same behavior.
Oh, wow. So you are basically practicing their habits in your head without even knowing it.
Exactly. And from an evolutionary standpoint, this subconscious mimicking makes perfect sense.
Because thousands of years ago, blending in with your group was a literal survival mechanism, right?
Precisely. If you were completely out of sync with your tribe, like if you slept when they hunted or if you panicked when they were calm, you became a liability.
And being a liability meant you might get cast out.
Right, which meant you would not survive the wilderness. So we evolved this intense neurological drive to subconsciously copy behaviors and vocabulary.
So it was literally a matter of life and death.
It really was. And today, that ancient survival software is still running in our heads, which means it extends to things like our modern financial habits or our work ethic or, our coffee orders.
That is fascinating. Our brains simply haven't updated the software yet. I was trying to think of an analogy for this, and it feels exactly like catching a cold. But instead of catching a sneeze, you were catching a lifestyle.
Oh, I love that. catching a lifestyle.
Right, but it also kind of reminds me of the algorithm on your social media feed.
Oh, that is a really interesting way to look at it. How so?
Well, your brain is basically constantly tracking what your friends click on in real life. If they constantly engage with complaining or gossip, your brain tracks that metric.
Ah, I see where you're going with this.
Yeah. And then it slowly adjusts your own mental feed to show you the same behaviors, ensuring you don't scroll away from the group. It is like a real-life algorithm optimizing for group cohesion.
That is a brilliant analogy. Your brain is optimizing for connection by syncing your habits, which actually brings us to a crucial concept from the text.
Oh, yes. Let's get into the key phrases.
Right. When the source talks about how these subtle behaviors slowly transfer over time, it refers to those habits starting to rub off on someone.
To rub off on someone. Yes, I love that phrase.
It is very descriptive.
It is.
Yeah.
And just to be completely clear for you listening, when we say a habit is going to rub off on someone, we mean that through close and consistent contact, a person's qualities or their behaviors naturally transfer to you.
Exactly. It is that slow, almost invisible absorption of their lifestyle.
Right. It is not an overnight thing. To rub off on someone implies it happens gradually.
The source actually gives a very practical example of this. Let's say your 4 closest friends love eating fast food and complaining about their lives every single weekend.
Sounds like a fun weekend.
Right. But the science of social contagion dictates that over time, the cortisol levels, the stress hormones in your group, will actually sync up. Their stress literally becomes your stress.
Wow. That is intense.
It is. And their dietary choices become the path of least resistance for you.
Huh.
Eventually, their habits completely rub off on you, and you just become the 5th person complaining.
Okay, but wait. Let me offer some pushback here, just to play devil's advocate.
Sure, go for it.
I have a hard time believing we have absolutely zero agency in this process. I mean, I have been in friend groups where literally everyone played a specific video game for hours, but I never once picked up a controller.
That is true.
So does this mean if I hang out with complainers, I am automatically doomed to become one? Why didn't social contagion work on me with the video game?
That is a really great distinction to make. Social contagion is not absolute mind control.
Okay, phew, good to know.
Right. It is more about behavioral friction. If a behavior clashes violently with your core identity, or if you simply have zero interest in it, you will likely resist it.
So the big stuff is easier to fight off.
Yeah, exactly.
Huh.
The real danger lies in the micro habits, the subtle ways people speak, the way they handle minor stress, or their general optimism versus pessimism.
I see.
Those things slip right past your conscious radar. So you might not pick up their video game habit, but you might unknowingly adopt their procrastination habits.
Wow, so it is the subtle background noise of the group that rewires you? But on the flip side, the source points out that this works with positive traits too, right?
Absolutely. It works both ways.
So if your friends are deeply passionate about reading or, investing or going to the gym, that positive baseline normal will naturally rub off on you as well.
Exactly. If the group's baseline is high achievement, the activation energy required for you to go to the gym drops significantly because your mirror neurons are already primed for it.
Okay, so if these micro habits rub off on us so easily through our environment, it makes me wonder, how do these specific friend groups form in the first place?
That is the next logical question, isn't it?
Yeah. Do we just randomly bump into people at the grocery store and suddenly become a synchronized group of complainers or a group of marathon runners?
Not at all. The formation of these groups is highly selective, even if we are not consciously aware of it.
Okay, so there is a process behind it.
Yes. Psychologists call this homophily, which essentially translates to love of the same. We naturally gravitate toward people who already share similar characters, interests, or baseline habits.
Because our brains crave cognitive ease. I mean, it is so much easier to hang out with someone when you do not have to explain yourself or justify your lifestyle choices.
Precisely. When people with similar behaviors find each other, it creates what the source calls a closed loop of behavior.
A closed loop. I like that visual.
The environment basically becomes a reinforcing echo chamber. Everyone just validates everyone else's choices.
Which perfectly aligns with the ancient idiom the article brings up, our second key phrase for today.
Oh, yes. A very famous one.
Birds of a feather flock together.
Birds of a feather flock together. It is a classic phrase for a reason.
It really is. And, we want to emphasize this one heavily. It essentially means that people who are highly similar in their character or their interests naturally gather and spend time with one another.
Exactly. If you have the same metaphorical feathers, you fly in the same flock.
Right. If you love discussing philosophy, you are going naturally flock toward other amateur philosophers. You want to be with your people.
And within that flock, within that closed loop, whatever behavior the group partakes in is completely normalized. It feels incredibly safe.
It is like a comfort zone.
Exactly. It acts like a psychological thermostat, just keeping everyone at the exact same temperature.
But that raises a massive question. What does this all mean when someone decides they want out of the loop?
Yes, the friction of change.
Right. Let's say I am in a flock that just wants to sit on the couch, eat junk food, and watch reruns all weekend. But suddenly, I have this spark. I want to change.
You decide you want more.
Yeah, I decide I want to learn a new language, or start a small business, or break a bad habit. But I am still deeply embedded inside my original flock. What happens then?
That is where things get incredibly difficult, and it leads us right into the unexpected obstacle of personal growth.
The unexpected obstacle.
Yes, the biggest obstacle to your transformation is not just your own lack of willpower. The hard truth is, the obstacle is your old social circle.
Wow, that is a harsh reality. Why do they become an obstacle?
Because your sudden desire to change introduces cognitive dissonance into the group. Remember that psychological thermostat we just talked about?
Yeah, keeping everyone at the same temperature.
Exactly. By working hard and changing your habits, you are essentially turning up the heat. If your current friends are very comfortable being lazy, well, your ambition holds up a mirror to their lack of ambition.
Oh, I see. It makes them feel insecure.
It makes them incredibly uncomfortable.
Wow. So they might actually try to pull you back down, not necessarily because they are malicious or evil, but simply because your growth threatens their comfort zone. They just want to restore the group's equilibrium.
Exactly. They will use subtle guilt trips, or they might make sarcastic jokes about your new diet, or question why you are working so hard.
Like, come on, just relax for one night. That kind of thing.
Yes. You are disrupting the closed loop. And the source is totally uncompromising on this point. You absolutely cannot transform your reality if you are constantly surrounded by negative energy that actively fights your growth.
It is like trying to change the direction of a river while you are still flowing in it.
Exactly. If you are determined to change your life, you need psychological self-preservation. And the text notes that sometimes protecting your future requires the painful courage to cut ties with toxic or stagnant individuals.
To cut ties. That is our third key phrase, and it is a very powerful, highly visual phrase.
It really paints a picture.
It does, and we really want to make sure this is clear. When we talk about having to cut ties with someone, it means to completely end a relationship, a connection, or communication with them.
Right. You are taking scissors to the relationship.
Exactly. You are severing that interpersonal cord because maintaining it is actively harming you.
It is a severe action. And the article does not take it lightly at all. It acknowledges that cutting ties can feel brutal.
Oh, I am sure. There is so much guilt involved.
There is guilt, there is emotional history, and it is incredibly difficult to stop talking to people you have shared so many memories with. But the source refers to it as a necessary act of self-preservation.
It really is. I mean, think about the mechanics of it. Trying to build a positive, energetic life while surrounding yourself with people who constantly pull you back down to their baseline.
It is exhausting.
It is. It is not just swimming with a heavy metal anchor. It is actually worse than that.
How so?
It is like trying to swim while your friends are actively grabbing your ankles because they are afraid of the deep water.
Oh, wow. That is a terrifying visual.
Right. You can have the best swimming technique in the world, but their panic will drag you under. To survive, you have to sever that connection. You have to cut ties.
That is a very visceral way to describe it, but it is completely accurate to the psychology. If you do not let go, you will drown in their negativity because your mirror neurons will eventually surrender to the group's baseline.
Okay, so let's say you have done the incredibly hard, emotionally painful work of cutting ties. You have withstood the guilt, and you have successfully created some empty space in your life.
The hard part is over.
Well, is it? How do you make sure you fill that space with the right people? How do we build a better circle so we don't just end up in another toxic loop?
The source outlines a very proactive strategy for this. To fast-track your personal growth, you can no longer leave your friendships to mere geographical convenience.
So no more just hanging out with whoever is around.
Exactly. You must become the intentional architect of your social environment.
The intentional architect. I really like that framing. I mean, an architect doesn't just throw random bricks on the ground and hope a sturdy house appears.
No, they definitely do not.
They have a specific, deliberate blueprint.
Exactly. You cannot just hang out with whoever happens to be sitting next to you at work or whoever happens to live in your apartment building. Proximity is just not enough anymore.
You have to be deliberate.
You do. The text explicitly states that you must actively search for like-minded people.
Like-minded people. That is our fourth phrase. Let's make sure we clarify that concept within this framework.
Go for it.
Like-minded people are individuals who share your exact opinions, your core philosophies, your ambitions, or your intellectual interests.
Basically, people whose minds align with yours.
Yes. They are people whose baseline normal is exactly what you are striving to achieve.
Yes. And what is so fascinating here is the massive psychological shift that happens when you finally find them.
Things get easier.
So much easier. When you surround yourself with like-minded people, the concept of personal growth completely stops feeling like a painful uphill battle.
Because the friction is finally gone.
Exactly. Think about the mirror neurons again. If everyone in your new circle is naturally waking up early, working hard, and pushing their intellectual boundaries, your brain simply mimics them.
Wow.
It becomes effortless. You will naturally feel motivated to level up.
To level up. Oh, I love that. That is our final key phrase for today, and it perfectly encapsulates the goal here.
It really does.
To level up means to advance to a higher, better, and much more successful position or stage in life. You are making a massive improvement to your standards.
Precisely. Your new environment pushes you to that higher standard effortlessly. Instead of fighting the current of the river is now flowing exactly where you want to go.
The social contagion is finally working in your favor.
Exactly. It is pulling you forward instead of holding you back.
You know, here's where it gets really interesting to me. We often think of self-improvement as this lonely, isolated journey of pure willpower, just you against the world.
That is the common narrative, yes.
But when you find those like-minded people, your social circle stops being a psychological anchor and transforms into a rocket booster.
A rocket booster. That is a great way to put it.
It propels you upward. It is just amazing to think that your friends are secretly writing the script of who you will become tomorrow. I mean, every time you grab coffee, every time you chat, they are literally programming your future habits.
They really are. You are essentially outsourcing a portion of your willpower to your environment, which is exactly why becoming the intentional architect of your life is arguably the highest leverage work you can do for your future self.
I am honestly feeling so much clarity on this topic right now. It reframes everyday interactions completely.
It makes you look at every conversation differently.
It really does. But before we finish up today, we really want to make sure these core concepts stick with you. We know we covered a lot of deep psychological mechanics today, from mirror neurons to homophily.
We covered a lot of ground.
We did. So we are going to slow down and do a dedicated, clear review of our 5 key phrases. We want to make sure you have these locked into your memory.
That is a great idea. Let's recap them one by one, using quick summaries to solidify what we've discussed.
Perfect. Here is number 1. To rub off on someone. This refers to the slow, almost invisible process where a person's habits, qualities, or mindsets are passed on to someone else through close, consistent contact.
Right. Number 2 is our idiom. Birds of a feather flock together. This means that people who are similar in character or who share the exact same habits naturally gravitate toward one another to form a comfortable group.
Number 3, to cut ties. This means to completely sever a connection, stop interacting with or end a relationship with a person or a group, usually as an act of self-preservation.
Exactly. Number 4, like-minded people. These are individuals who share your exact core philosophies, values, ambitions, or life goals. People whose minds align with yours.
And finally, number 5, to level up. This means to make a massive improvement in your life, your career, or your habits, successfully advancing to a much higher standard.
Those 5 phrases really do capture the entire psychological journey mapped out in the social mirror. And, as we wrap up, if we connect all of this to the bigger picture, right, it leaves us with one final, really profound thought to consider.
Oh, I love a good closing thought. What is it?
Well, we have spent a lot of time today talking about how your friends are secretly writing the script of who you will become tomorrow.
Right.
We focus heavily on how they affect you. But remember, mirror neurons work both ways. The mirror reflects outward just as much as it reflects inward.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So the question you have to ask yourself today is, what kind of script are you currently writing for their tomorrow?
Oh man, that completely flips the perspective.
Right.
Are you the anchor dragging your friends down, or are you the rocket booster helping them level up?
Exactly.
What a phenomenal question to sit with. That is definitely something I am going to be reflecting on all day long. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. It has been an incredibly enlightening conversation.
It truly has been a pleasure unpacking this with you. Thank you for listening, and we really hope you take these psychological insights and use them to architect a wonderful, supportive, and ambitious circle around yourself.
Take care, everyone. Keep analyzing your environment, keep leveling up, and we will catch you on the next deep dive. Goodbye.